I'm Eva Oh, and this is the Teakink podcast. I've been a dominatrix since 2011, and I would like to spill the tea on my life. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for the attention, Goddess Eva. And have you ever made a man cry without doing something to them physically? And plus, I'm just really intrigued by you. Thank you.
Thank you for your intrigue. Men crying. If you've been paying attention, you know that I do enjoy that for reasons that made up an entire episode called, what was it called? I think it might have been called I Love Men Crying. The parallels between sports and the dungeon. Talk about a title. So I would recommend listening to that because it goes into the psychology of my love of watching men watching sports and the parallels to how I see those expressions, that emotion accessed in the dungeon. I won't go into it too much just now, so you can go and listen to that, but also maybe I'll get to it later. But have I ever made a man cry without a physicality, like a physical interaction? I assume that there are probably a few ignored men sobbing in their hearts for me. I don't know. But it's, I mean, when things are happening online, and a lot of things are happening online these days with my OnlyFans and with my website, then I guess you could maybe count that as sometimes maybe initiating some sort of emotional reactions. Would it be crying? I wish they would send me videos if it were. I think that maybe longing, but I'm not sure about crying. Maybe that's a mass message to send out. Please, don't send me a photo of your caged cock today. I would like to see a video of you crying for me. Task of the day. But I think, however, when it comes to in-person interactions, it depends what you mean by physical. I have had many men crying in my sessions, but it's usually after a session or at the very end of it. And so a lot of physicality has happened, whether that was bondage, whether that was dressing them up, whether that was feet on them, whether that was, yeah. So usually, even when it's like an interrogation session or their verbal humiliation, there's usually some physicality to it as well, unless it's maybe over dinner or something. Because interrogation and humiliation can't happen over dinner, I promise you. But but when it comes to, but would you say that the physicality is lacking? I guess maybe this person is asking, can you experience something so profound without having to do a physical act that's going to create an emotional reaction as obvious as crying? And I think that if you understand how somebody's mind works and you know how to say the things that are going to press on them just right, then of course there's the possibility. Yes, the first time I ever made a boy cry was my elder brother at the time. And he was very precious about this leaf that he thought was magical. But earlier in the day, he said that girls don't fish when we were going fishing. So, when he tried to give the magical leaf to my mother, I made sure to intercept the leaf and tear it. I didn't do anything physically to him, but I understood the meaning of this token, of this totem. And I ripped it apart. So, I can fish now. Yeah, so I think that it's entirely possible with the right tools, but I haven't gone about it in a way that anybody has shared with me yet. But it has potentially happened. Potentially. So, but most of the times the crying happens because of relief more than anything. It's like a gratitude to be able to step into a space of surrender, and with that comes a huge release of emotion, and therefore crying. And which is why I love to see it, because I feel like it makes somebody a more honest person, and I can interact with that more freely without the barrier of their tension within themselves. So that's kind of the premise of the whole episode of I Love Men Crying, Sports in the Dungeon. So this might end up being a very, very short episode, but I think I got my point across, that it's entirely possible, but due to the nature of my in-person sessions, there's always a physicality to things. However, it's going to be a task on my OnlyFans. And I don't know whether I have the time to address each individual of the thousands on there and to find their little point where we can instigate that emotional reaction. But maybe it's enough to just set a task because they want to impress their mistress. Could you imagine that compilation video? I mean, we're not going to make a compilation video because all these videos are private, obviously. But is there something like this on like a porn site somewhere? Just like videos compiled of men crying? So, thank you for the question. It was very entertaining, and I would highly suggest that you listen to the season 1 episode of I Love Men Crying. And I hope that we all get that opportunity to feel the freedom of emotional release and indulgence when we feel called to. And may that happen from time to time when we want, as opposed to not accessing it at all. So, thank you for listening, and speak with you next time.